Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Ungainly Titan. And this episode of World of Tanks, I want to talk about World of Tanks and recent developments in World of Tanks. And I'm also going to indicate that probably for the next week or two, there's going to be predominantly World of Tanks. I may not actually get any non-World of Tanks videos done. I have a whole bunch of stuff that's after happening in terms of new tanks and developments in tanks that I just want to share with you, and to do it while the thing is still fresh in my mind and my opinions, which haven't changed with longer exposure on various topics. So the first thing I want to talk about are war chests. Loot boxes under any other name. So I decided to invest in the war chests because they were after coming out. And I was just curious to know how they played out and what they yielded. Now, there are three types of war chests in World of Tanks at the moment. There are commander chests, general chests, and hero chests, and essentially they are more expensive as you go up. So the cheapest kind of chest per unit are commander chests, and the most expensive kind of chests are hero chests. So initially I bought €49.99 worth of war chests, which yielded me 10 war chests and 3 bonus war chests. And scrolling up the line is what I received out of 11 of those war chests. There was glitches in communication due to my internet where I did not receive the log of the of 2 of the chests. So what you see listed there is 7,585 gold, 100k silver, an IS-2 plus garage, Glory IS-5 plus garage, 2 days of premium, crew customization, create a flag, a 10 XP boost, 2 silver boosts, 1k free XP, and 14 by 2 XP boosts. I did manage to get an extra 1,340 gold. So that's a total of 8,295 gold, 2 days premium, and 2 premium tanks. They weren't particularly tanks that I would have gone out of my way to buy because I have a lot of Soviet premium tanks and I probably wouldn't have bought them under any other circumstance. So if my mathematics is correct, 8,925 gold works out roughly at €32. Buying the gold at the cheapest bundle, which is I think the 12k gold for €42.99, works out that way. So it works out roughly €32. 2 days premium is about 500 gold, which is about a $5's worth of gold, and the 2 tanks. So I think I easily got my money's worth here. I then thought about it a little bit and I thought, right, well, I better look at the other end of the spectrum, and I got myself a bundle of 11 war chests, commander level. $14.99 cost me, and the results are scrolling up now. So I finish up with about 1,800 gold, 6k silver, and about 4.6 free XP and some crew boosts. The silver and XP is it's not negligible. It depends on how you value your time. The 1,800 gold, well, again, depending on how you buy your gold, is worth either €6.50 or €10. It's €6.50 if you buy your gold in bulk and cheap, and it's €10 if you buy the gold in really small increments. That is the smallest possible increments. At least that's the way my mathematics is working it out. So arguably, well, whether that is worth it now to you is another day's work. You can, in theory, get tanks, free tanks, from the commander war chests just as well as you can get from the other war chests, but you're less likely, and I think you have a smaller selection of tanks to get it from, so you're more likely to be getting the cheaper end of the tanks market. Is it worth it? Well, I think it's up to yourself to decide, and I wouldn't consider my samples to be completely representative. I would say you'd have to spend a lot more money than I'm prepared to spend to really work out what the distribution of goodies per chest is and how many chests you really would have to get a particular thing. Now, in my personal opinion, if you're looking for something particular, you want a particular premium tank, you want premium time, you're better off buying it directly, or buying it either directly. Buy the gold when it's on sale, or buy the gold whenever you want, and buy the thing you're looking for. The war chest is more or less if you want to kind of gamble out of it and you just want to return some money, and you're not particularly fussy about what it is that you're getting in return for this money, but you want to throw some money in the direction of wargaming for all the entertainment you've had over the period of time previously. And I think the war chest is perfectly fine. I don't think you're going to get anything out of them that's absolutely outstanding or impossible to get by any other means. And if there is something that you really, really want, I think you're better off going for it directly. This brings me up to the second part of the discussion, and this is 4.9, or sorry, 4.7, update 4.7. Now in this update they have changed the sound files. There's been quite a bit of changes to the sound files in the game. The biggest changes to the sound files, I think, are to the gunfiring sounds. The gunfiring sounds are actually quite different to previously. I have no strong opinion either way on the gunfiring sounds, but one of the things I like is that when you are telescoped in, you can hear interior turret noises, like shells falling, or cases falling out of the breach when the gun fires, and things like that. The damage, assisted damage, spotting, and other ribbons. They have been changed, both in the colours, not dramatically, but they're different shades of the same kind of colours, but some of the symbology has changed, particularly on the spotting ribbons. They're now kind of a blue, with a kind of, I don't know, is it a map drawn at them or something like that, but they're a different kind of iconography. But the other big change, and I think this is a really helpful change, especially for anybody monitoring their performance and or especially chasing marks of excellence, is the damage indicators. You now get your damage dealt, damage, assisted damage, and bounced damage from up on the screen underneath the metal ribbons, underneath the ribbons, the damage ribbons and assisted damage ribbons. And this, I think, is going to be very helpful, like I said, especially for anybody who's chasing marks of excellence, particularly on light tanks or medium tanks, where assisted damage makes a huge difference. The reason being that the assisted damage ribbons can sometimes be very misleading, because you can have quite a high number of assisted damage ribbons with it having a very low actual assisted damage. I've had the experience of having 15 or 16 assisted damage ribbons and having somewhere on the order of 700 or 800 assisted damage, either because the allies were shooting at tanks that were already low health and killing them off, or they were using HE or other inefficient ways of dealing damage at range. So I'm neutral enough on the ribbons changes and on the sounds, but I do really like the damage indicators. I do wish that they would now add the directional damage indicators with the values of the incoming rounds that are currently available on the PC. I think that would be extremely helpful to the game. It would be very helpful as a teaching tool as well, because it would give people much clearer indication of where the incoming fire is from, and a way of gauging the amount of damage to the incoming fire, because they know the potential damage that is going to be done, especially from bounced shells. The other big changes that 4.7 have brought along is there's been considerable changes to the Soviet Tech 3 tanks, particularly at high tiers. There's a whole bunch of tier 10s. So you have the Object 430U medium tank at tier 10, you have the K91 medium tank at tier 10. You have the 705A at tier 10, you have the 277 at tier 10, and coming in at the mediums, you have the ISM heavy tank at tier 8. That splits off into a couple of new lines, or lines that didn't previously exist, or completely rearranged from the way they were before. So you have, the Object 705 heavy tank at tier 9, the 257 heavy tank at tier 10, which is replacing the T10, although the T10 is still in the Tech 3, it's just been moved to a different line. The 275 now leads to the IS-7, and the T10 leads to the Object 277. Dynamic loading screens will enable you to see what operations you've picked when you're loading into a battle. I'm not sure if that's any real help to anybody. There's a whole bunch of camouflage options. Sacred Valley, as in not Sacred Valley War, but the original Sacred Valley, is back into the map, and I always liked Sacred Valley. I particularly like to see it back, and I much preferred it than, say, Great Wall or Hidden Valley. They've been mucking around with tank balance and maps, and there's a lot of improvements, a lot of buffs given to tanks, but you'll want to go through the notes first for that. It seems to be most tanks have been, or a lot of tanks have been buffed particularly in their soft stats, rotation, dispersion on the move, stuff like that seems to have gotten minor buffs across a lot of tanks. Finally, I want to have a word about the commander mode and the player mode, and I really don't understand what Wargaming are up to here. I really would prefer if they just didn't bother with this. I think this is a complete and utter waste of time. I, for one, am not interested. I want to play World of Tanks, and I want to play a tank shooter arcade game. I don't want to play a tactical RTS. If I want to play a tactical RTS, I'll go and buy a tactical RTS, or download a tactical RTS. And if I did want to play a tactical RTS, I'd want to play something closer to the historical simulations. So I'd want to have not just tanks and tank destroyers and what have you that you have out of World of Tanks. I'd want close infantry support, I'd want artillery, I'd want airstrikes, I'd want to play a proper war game. Personally, I'm not a fan of tactical war games, or RTS type war games, real time war games. But if I wanted to play something like this, what you're looking at, I'd much prefer to play a computerized version of Squad Leader. Ideally turn-based, but where I would have tanks, infantry, mortars, artillery, anti-tank units, the full gamut, combined arms, modern battlefield type stuff, or World War II type battlefield stuff. And none of this just vehicles only game. I'm not interested in the slightest in this thing, and I have no idea why Wargaming, particularly Wargaming Chicago Boston, are devoting resources to this rubbish. I don't find it a fun game mode, and I don't particularly enjoy it, and I don't see the bulk of the World of Tanks player base being particularly interested in it. If Wargaming wants to do it as a game, I think they should do it as a standalone game. Now, that said, if Wargaming did a well integrated combined arms game where you did something closer to historical reality in terms of battlefield, with historically real vehicles or even stuff representing real scenarios on the ground, then I'd be far more interested in this kind of rubbish, to be honest with you. On the flip side of the commander mode, they have the tanker mode. This is commander mode, tanker mode. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on. I've been given charge of a Scorpion G, and as far as I can see, I'm going around playing against bots just as if I was playing some other standard World of Tanks or a World of Tanks play versus environment type scenario. There may be some poor unfortunate on the other side trying to marshal these tanks using the RTS interface. And against live players, it's gone beyond a joke. I have no idea whether this thing is totally run by a computer at the other side, or whether there's actually a real person trying to do something at the other side as well. But the tanks themselves are behaving like bots, and I mean, look at this. When he's driving away uphill, I mean, if he drove the way he came, the lie of the land would protect him, and then he stops and reverses. That's stupidity. I don't think even real players, I've very rarely seen among real players. And what am I doing here that I wouldn't be doing in a regular 15 versus 15 World of Tanks game? I really don't see the point of this. So I just touched on it just to have a look at what it was. I thought I'd comment on it and express the fact that I have absolutely no interest in it whatsoever, and I can't imagine why anyone would. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, then devote the resources to do it properly. Do it as separate resources from your standard World of Tanks maintenance and development, and do a proper game of this type. So finally, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the videos and found them interesting. If you did, please give it a like. If you've not already done so, please subscribe. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.